What up, y'all? First of all, y'all peep the Mushie Buddy gear. Oh, I know you did. I know you did. Today, we talking about dosage and duration. If you are not aware, by the time this video comes out, there will be an ebook available for purchase on my website that just has a lot of good things in it, and it fleshes some of those things out. I had a conversation with a friend and it just kind of made me want to make a video about it, because there aren't many resources available when it comes to mushroom dosage and duration. And I use those two words very specifically because it's like dosage is hard for the same reason that duration is hard. It's simply put that there are a lot of variables. I've talked to y'all about some variables, but in general, I came up with these variables based on the fact that if someone were to ask me to give them a recommended dosage, or how much should I take, what if I only want to take one shroom, what would I tell them? And thus far, when I've gotten that question, the amount that I've recommended to people, they followed, right? But then there also are a group of people who don't follow the instructions that I give them for the sake of not only safety, but to ensure they kind of have the experience that they're looking for, just because I understand the formula, essentially. And it's like, it's hard for me to tell somebody how much to take because there are fundamental things that I need to know. And if you don't tell the truth, that's the thing. If you don't tell the truth when I'm asking you these questions, then that's where you're gonna fuck around and find out, and you're gonna pay the cost later on your own. When you tell me what's up, I can better help you. Prime example, some of the things I'll ask people is, one, how much do you weigh? Because although there are no studies that say that weight matters, I personally just think that weight does matter. From polling a survey of like friends to polling people who do shrooms regularly, they have all been on the same accord in the general consensus that their bodies feel different and absorb things different when they are heavier and when they are lighter. Me personally, I agree with that, just because when you have more area to cover, you just have more area to cover with anything. That goes for alcohol, shrooms, medication, painkillers, whatever. Like, there's a lot that goes into making sure you're getting the right dosage of anything. The second thing is, what type of mushroom are you doing? That's just like with liquor. What kind of liquor are you drinking? You asking me, well, I ain't never drank no liquor before. How much should I drink? I'm going to tell you to make a mixed drink and don't put that much in it. But you having a mixed drink with what? What are you mixing? You mixing Don Julio, Reposado, and Tito's? Absolutely not. 2 thumbs down. I think that's a terrible idea. Do not recommend. 0 out of 10. And so, you know, when it comes to mushrooms, the type of mushroom matters as well, because for my body, there are some mushrooms that are just low in potency for me. There are other mushrooms that have been consistent all the time. And then there are other mushrooms that I'm like, okay, hold on. Let me dial it back a little bit. I know what I'm doing, but I'm also not gonna play with fire. I am not a fan of abuse now, balance later. I'm not interested in that. When we're talking about the type of mushroom, that is crucial to the experience that you can have, as well as the level of intensity that may come along with that. We also have to consider tolerance. If I ask you,
hey, have you done shrooms before? Tell me the truth.
If I ask you,
have you done harsher substances before?
Harsher substances being things like cocaine, popping pills, heroin, ecstasy, anything that is harsher than shrooms. Have you done that before? Fentanyl, Xanny bars. Tell me the truth, because if your body is used to a harsher substance, you may be okay with a stronger mushroom. I'm not interested in fucking around and finding out. However, I will recommend you something that is not the strongest mushroom that I know of, but it is a mushroom where if you were to up it a little bit or to do something subtle like introduce citrus, you would get a more intense experience, but it wouldn't be at the cost of having to eat more when you're already unfamiliar, right? There is a safe way to do things. I'm also going to ask you,
do you intend to
yourself? How do you know that you like it in connection with something else? I always throw it out there because people be like, oh, yeah, I'm gonna do shrooms, but I'm gonna smoke a blunt later. Oh, I'm gonna do shrooms, but I'm gonna be drinking too. Oh, I'm gonna do shrooms, but I'm also gonna pop a pill. And then later on, when people ask you like, yeah, bro, how you feel? You can't even explain how you feel because you don't know what stuff feel like on its own. That's like people who drink and they have a preference. Yes, I do like cognac, but I like specific kinds of cognac. Yes, I like whiskey, but I like certain kinds of whiskey. I know what I'm like when I'm off of some honey jack. Because why? You've had it by itself. You might have had it with orange juice. You might have had it with Coca-Cola. You might have had it with Pepsi. You might have had it with all these other things. But the alcohol itself, you've had by itself to know how it affects you by itself. So I think it would behoove a lot of people to isolate their mushrooms and see how it behaves, how they respond by itself as well. If you're not doing that, there is no real way to like gauge or track your progress, if that makes sense. Another question that I always ask, where are you doing them? Because your set and setting are still very crucial and important. What I might do if I'm going to work would not be the same amount that I would do or kind of mushroom that I would do if I were going to a barbecue. If I was doing something that's like, oh, I'm just in the house, I'm gonna clean up, I want to do some shrooms and vibe out. That's not the same amount that I'm gonna do if I'm going to work. Or if I'm going to something where I need to be paying attention or watching some kids, or you know what I mean? Those settings are gonna dictate my dosage as well. And then more importantly, it's also gonna dictate how much I eat because of how long I intend to enjoy this. If I just want something brief, I know what to do. If I want something that's gonna, you know, last a little bit longer, again, I know what to do. That follow-up question is, what kind of experience are you looking to have? And that's one of the biggest things that I kind of focus on when I talk to people who are trying to figure out what dosage looks like for them. Okay, how do you want to feel? Well, I want to see shit. I want to do this. I want to do that. Okay, bet. I can give you a formula for that. People are like, you know what? I'm not going to hold you. I am kind of scared. I just want to get my feet wet. I want to feel good. I don't want to do too much, but I want to be right at the borderline of like having visuals. Okay, we can do that. But if you don't have a plan on what you want, I don't know how to help you with that. So some people that I have talked to, they're like, look, this is what I want to do, how I do it. And they like, I just trust your level of expertise and your judgment that I'm going to follow it. I will say that the people who have followed my instructions to the T with regards to safety and proper education and preparation, they have all turned around, came back like, listen, your advice was spot on. Thank you. Like, I really enjoyed this. Like, it's a certain level of trust that I'm realizing that I'm building on accident. I do love that for me. It is a testament to all the research that I've done, just using myself as a guinea pig to some extent. And so I very much so like that. It is, I like helping people and I like being a resource. So me being able to like be that, I am ecstatic, and it makes me more excited to just keep learning, not only about my own body, but about the relationship that I have with mushrooms as well. And then my last and final question.
Who you gonna be around when you do this?
Because asking people who they gonna be around, it really make them sit back and think like, hold on, wait a minute. Who am I gonna be around? I'm never gonna tell you to be alone. Now, once you get to a point where you know what you're doing, I've never had people ask me like, look, I'm gonna be by myself. Do you got any tips? I never had nobody ask me that, because most times people ask me for advice on like things like social settings, stuff like that. And so questioning who you're gonna be around and taking that into account will either have you dialing it back or turning it up. And both for the same reason. No, I know I'm gonna be around people who gonna be lit, they gonna be turned up. I wanna be turned up in my own way, in my own world. Let's do this. In those situations, I always give people recommendations on how to regulate in the event that they're overstimulated or something triggers them or whatever the case may be. Like, I want you to be prepared. you like, nah, I'm finna be around some motherfuckers who I need to be paying attention. So, you know, I do just enough, but I'm also gonna be prepared to leave. Like, making an informed decision based on who you finna be around is top tier, unmatched. And when we adopt the mindset that we just gonna listen to take heed and follow instructions and it works, I feel like that helps to build a more positive, more educated community, because they erred on the side of caution and strayed away from abuse first, balance later. So I hope y'all like this video and learned something from it, because I did put a lot into this. For me, I love giving advice, especially where I feel confident, and I am so happy that people trust me in this manner. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up, comment, like, and subscribe, and I will catch y'all on the flip side. Peace out, mushy buddies.